thing, and one other item that I did want to bring up because I think it's only fair. I know Fran's had some concerns about our previous tax collector. He's foiled this Freedom of Information Act for certain information. I'd have been glad to give it to you. I would be glad to give it to anybody, as long as it's not something protected by law or whatever. But we did have a tax collector a couple of years ago that had some problems. The tax collector really reports to the treasurer, not to the supervisor. She's an elected official for strictly one duty: collect the taxes, pay them to the treasurer. The treasurer's office called me after collection had started, like in March or April, when a certain amount of money was in, and they said we were short of our goal compared to the years before. So we immediately launched, actually what I did is I went to the town attorney, I went to the county attorney and said, okay, what's the process? What should we do? We're not sure of anything, but let's look at it. Let's see what our process is. It took a whole year, because what happens is not everybody pays their taxes on time. Therefore, you have to wait a year because some of these people are paying in. We actually found a check from Wells Fargo in the drawer, tucked back in for a parcel. That was $1,600. We found actual cash on site. So we have no idea what it was. But in all of the investigations, and right up until very few months ago, it was obvious that she wasn't trying to steal it. She was just a bad mathematician. And this is from Brooks Baker. Dear Supervisor Eisman, as you're aware, at your request and that of the town board, this office undertook an investigation into allegations associated with potential irregularities associated with the Hornell Town Tax Collector. Noel Twilliger, District Attorney's Office criminal investigator, undertook the investigation personally. Interviews were conducted, documents were reviewed, and a thorough investigation of the situation was taken. I have reviewed the findings of Investigator Twilliger with him and reviewed the documentation he obtained in conjunction with concern expressed by the board. Essentially, what we're able to determine is that there may have been some sloppy bookkeeping. There was absolutely no criminal intent warranting any action by this office, basically. So if you've heard rumors about the tax collector, I should take care of them.
That the Baker that you quoted, that's district attorney?
Yeah, that's Brooks Baker, district attorney, yes. Now, I can give you one of these, Jim. You got one, right?
I do have a copy of that, and I'm interested in, of course, my FOIL dealt with restitution, and whether there was some sort of an agreement, verbal or written, an executive session, which is not covered by anonymity.
Right.
FOIL does, and I sent you the case, that demands that information be turned over to the public. Now, I just got off the phone this week with Bob Freeman, and also the Assistant Executive Director. I have my appeal written, which I'll turn in tomorrow, but they have both agreed with what I've done, and so I've constructed a letter as per what they said. And my issue is criminal intent. I'm interested in restitution. Was there restitution made? That's what my question was, because your memo, I'm thinking of August 10th, said that she owed $1,599.
That was a statement.
47
That was a
cents.
statement. We gave her the statement. That okay, here's what we found to date. Subtract, and it came down to a number, and that number was paid for.
But who paid for it? That's what I thought. Who paid the restitution? Because if indeed restitution was made, as you just said,
Yeah.
then that means that there was some sort of an agreement, and that's what I foiled.
So no, there was no written agreement.
I did not say written. I foiled verbal or written.
Wait, you can't do verbal.
Verbal agreements or contracts, yeah, they have to be substantiated.
Freeman's told me no.
Well, then,
I'll call him again.
please do. Please do.
But I don't know what you're trying to gain by running her through the mud here.
I'm not running anyone through the mud. What I'm saying is, she was a public servant. She
Yeah.
violated the public trust. We had something like that occur in Ulman. They brought that information forward, and I thought it was well handled. I think the public deserves the right to have trust in their government.
Oh, I agree.
They deserve an honest government.
I agree.
When this information is not brought forward, now you're starting to bring some of the information forward tonight, and I appreciate that. I'm hoping probably some other people do.
Yeah.
That reestablishes a little bit of credibility for the local government.
Right, we're not trying to hide anything. We're absolutely not.
Okay, when I foiled, I'm not receiving the information that, for example, you just mentioned, this $1,599 that was paid back. I asked, who paid it back? Who paid restitution?
Tax collector.
The taxpayers.
The tax collector.
Collector. Okay, so I asked for validation, that must have been some sort of
That
a
was that
check.
sheet that you've got that shows the $1,599.
It says you will pay there. It does not validate that she did pay or
She
whoever
did.
paid in her name.
She did.
I'd like to take your word,
Yep.
but any
There's
validation,
no other proof.
where did money come in to the town to pay that restitution? Because if it did, there must have been a receipt, which I asked for, or some sort of a record where the money was deposited back into the general fund or the tax collector's account.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, please do. I appreciate it.
Because
Okay.
it was a cashier's check, I do know that.
Okay.
So, no, I'm not, that's why I said, that's why I'm coming.
I
Open
appreciate
the
it.
door, there should be
Yeah.
open communication.
Absolutely.
Artport, us, and the what, we're all in the same.
Right, we have the same
focus.
tax collector. This
Exactly.
reestablishes, hopefully confidence, a new tax collector for the entire.
We've got the new tax collector, she's doing well. This other gal,
Had some issues, and I understand that. I'm interested in the process, though.
understand, fair enough.
Thank you.
And is that what you have?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any comments? My comment is that Fran has never brought this case to the board at any time. He's never talked to me personally about it, and I don't believe he's talked to anybody on the board. Fran does not represent the board in this, but he does as an elected official and as a citizen of North Hornell. He can represent the village taxpayers, and he can also represent the town taxpayers. He can write down on the foil that he represents the town taxpayers as a concerned citizen. But he's never come to the board and asked us to have a vote on this or anything. So I appreciate your explanation, Ken, and I understand it more now from Fran, listening to him today. And so hopefully you'll be able to get, your answers soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank you.